Hi everyone! Welcome to Souped Up Recipes. I'm Mandy. Today we're making taro puff dumpling. We call it 五个. This is a special dumpling because the wrapper is made with taro. When you deep fry it, the outside layer will puff up into a beautiful, delicate crust, while the middle layer maintains the soft, creamy texture like mashed potatoes. Very interesting. So to make the perfect wrapper, you have to choose the right type of taro. I'm using this huge one here.
This taro is about 5 pounds, but we only need 14 ounces for today's recipe. Taro is very tough. It does take some force to cut it. By the way, it will leave a layer of white starchy residue on your knife. That's how you can tell it is high in starch, which is exactly what we need. You can buy this taro in Asian markets. They also sell a different type that is much smaller, like this one. It has a lower starch content. You can use it, but it won't come out as crispy. Also, this end section here, where the taro leaves come out, is low in starch. You can use the whole thing, but not this section. Let's peel it. Some people have sensitive skin and they will get redness and itchiness when dealing with raw taro. It is better for you to put on gloves if you have never touched it before. My skin is not sensitive, so I'm not wearing gloves. It is better to use a scale to measure everything, otherwise it won't come out perfect. Slice the taro into 1/4 of an inch thick slabs. Then roughly cut it into strips. Put the taro in a pot along with ½ teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 200 grams of water. Turn the heat to medium and bring this to a simmer. Then turn the heat to low and cook for 8 minutes. Remove it from the stove and add 160 grams of wheat starch. This is what I'm using. If you ask me, can I use cornstarch, potato starch, or tapioca starch? The answer is yes, but you will have to test it many times to find the right water-starch ratio and the perfect frying temperature so you can get the puffy appearance. Use a potato masher to mash the taro, as well as mixing the wheat starch into the hot taro water mixture. I actually simplified this recipe. The traditional method was steam the taro for 30 minutes. Mix the wheat starch with hot water separately to form a smooth dough. Then you combine the taro with the dough. My method is much faster. It doesn't require a steamer, and you don't need to make the wheat starch dough separately.
Right now it is very rough and loose. You have to wait until it becomes lukewarm and then go in with your hand to knead it nice and smooth. I have arthritis, so I'm going to use a machine to help me to do the kneading. KitchenAid is known for kneading, but not that many people know that a food processor is also capable to do that. I'm going to show you how.
Just add the taro wheat starch crumbs into the food processor. Be careful, don't spill everywhere. Use the lowest speed to mix. It will break the dough into small little pieces in the beginning. In about 25 seconds, all those little pieces will join back together into a whole piece. I actually overfilled my food processor. The dough stopped moving even the machine is still on. That is fine, but it will be much better if you do this in 2 batches. Add the pork lard. Try to break it apart first and mix it in a little bit. You can also use butter if you prefer. The lard that I'm using has been sitting at room temperature for a while, so it just melts. It will be better if you use cold lard because it won't get so liquidy. However, it doesn't affect the final result. Use the low speed again to mix it well. You might need to go in with your spatula a few times to incorporate the uneven part. This is what you're looking for: a soft, smooth, and non-stick dough. It is very oily at this moment. We have to put it in a container and set it in the fridge for at least 24 hours. You need the taro starch to be fully retrograded so your dumplings puff up perfectly. That is just my experience and I don't know the science behind it. While waiting, I'll show you how to make the filling. I have here 3 dried shiitake mushrooms that I soaked for 2 hours already. They are nice and soft. Dice them finely. This is Cantonese sausage. Finely dice it as well. You can use other types of sausage if you can't find Cantonese style. Besides that, you will also need 60 grams of diced carrot, 114 grams of ground pork, and 114 grams of diced shrimp. If you don't eat shrimp, just use all ground pork. Turn the heat to high and heat the wok until smoking hot. Add a drizzle of oil and swirl it around so it coats the bottom. Add the ground pork, the diced mushroom, and the diced sausage. Stir for a few minutes. Try to break up the meat because we don't want any big chunks. Turn the heat to low. Carrot goes in. Add 1 tablespoon of Chinese cooking wine, half teaspoon of white pepper, 2½ teaspoon of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce, 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce. Continue to stir until well combined. Quickly mix 2½ teaspoons of cornstarch and 2½ tablespoons of mushroom soaking liquid. Pour it into the wok. This will slightly bind the filling together, so it will be easier to wrap later. I see it is looking a little bit dry. I'm just adding another splash of water. The shrimp goes in. This is white shrimp, so it doesn't really turn pink. We don't want to overcook it, so as soon as it is not translucent anymore, turn off the heat. Add a 1/4 cup of diced scallion. Mix well and your filling is done. It doesn't look like much, but trust me, it is enough because this dumpling is all about the outside crust. Take the taro dough out of the fridge. After a long time chilling, it becomes firm. It lost some ductility. You have to knead it for a few minutes and it will be soft and pliable again. To wrap the dumplings, you just grab a small piece, about 35 grams. Roll it in between your hands until it becomes a smooth ball. We don't need a rolling pin, just shape it into a small little ball. Put some filling in, about 15 grams. Pack it tight. Carefully bend both sides to the middle. Pinch the edge to close the dumpling. How easy is that? You just do the same thing to finish the rest of the dumplings.
Now it comes to the trickiest part of this recipe, deep frying it. The oil's temperature really matters. If it is too low, the crust will start peeling and floating everywhere. You will end up with a mess in the oil. If it is too high, the surface will set too fast before it gets a chance to blossom. You won't get that airy, puffy crust. A thermometer is really helpful here. This one is instant read, so it is convenient for you to adjust the heat. If you don't have one, I'll show you how to test the temperature.
Drop in a small piece of dough. Let it fry for 20 seconds. Take it out, and if you see the dough has formed that porous crust, that means the temperature is correct.
However, this method is not as precise. If you want it to come out perfect, like the restaurant quality, it is still better to use a thermometer. I'll link this product in the description. You can go check it out later if you need it.
Place the dumplings on a flat strainer. This will help you to lift and transfer the dumplings. You can fry them without this tool, but you will likely ruin the delicate crust. I will link this product in the description. Check it out if you need it. Also, when you put the dumplings on, give them a little pressure so they stick to the strainer. If you don't do that, all the dumplings will float everywhere. Then there's no point of using this tool. I have gone through so many trials and failures. I find 390 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit is a perfect range of temperature. Make sure you use a large pot and fry them in batches. I can only fry 5 at one time, and it looks like it is just about to overflow. Even though it's not, you should be careful. Keep the heat at medium and fry this for a few minutes. The filling is cooked already. You can just go with the color. Golden brown like that is what you are looking for. They came out so perfect. You want this stringy honeycomb sort of look. Let's take a bite. It is light, airy, crispy, and flaky. As I mentioned in the beginning, the inside mashed taro layer is very creamy and soft. These contrasting textures make this dumpling so special. The filling is rich and savory. Everything just balanced so well. This is the best dumpling you will ever have. By the way, the crust can stay crispy for hours. So this is a perfect party snack. You can just put it out without worrying that it will turn soft.
I hope you give this a try soon. As always, the recipe will be on my website, soupedupresrecipes.com. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!